Hey everyone, Temporal here, and today we are reviewing a Plat Genji player. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit. I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates look like, see what sort of events, promos we have coming up, whatever stuff is there. So here we go. Hey Game Buster. I thought you weren't ready yet, or I'd have been doing your review, but okay, we'll do it after.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers in.
Okay.
Escort the payload.
You kind of tried. Like, I don't love quite how out in the open you were here. Like, I don't mind this. Got it. That's fine. So, I don't mind this. I don't mind you putting up your deflect. I don't love you getting over here. I know you're getting over here to try to bait the shots harder, but it leaves you in a situation where your deflect isn't going to last long enough, and there's a decent chance you're going to have to dash out. So, instead of using one cooldown to sort of get deflect's value, there's a real chance you're going to have to use deflect plus dash when your dash ends to survive. I don't love that. It looks like you were just barely able to make it, but you did take some damage in exchange for that. Challenger with the bubble. Good job. Okay. Wait, why did... Oh, did your shuriken take her down, not your dash? That's bad. That's good. Did you dash again? You should have dash back. It looks like dash clearly got the elimination. Let's slow this down because I must be going crazy. That's fine. That's at about 40 health. You don't hit with those shurikens. That arrow doesn't hit. Your dash is what gets the elimination. Oh, and you immediately turned and redashed. Got it. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure you get out. This is fine, and now you're playing the angles. So far, so good. Less good. You just dropped in with no cooldowns. Like, I get that McCree is weak, I really do. But be annoying here, chip from here, etc. I know the res is coming out, and that feels like it's undoing all of your work, but you're actually ahead of this team. And you can see that here in the replay because of the total health pools. The McCree's missing health, the Mercy's missing health, the Reinhardt's missing a little bit, whereas on your team, your Reinhardt's just missing some health. And percentage-wise, not nearly as much as the McCree, or, maybe similar to the Mercy there. So, plus they've spent the res. So you've got a bit of a lead on this team. You don't need to go do this, which is kind of dangerous. You just put yourself in... Oh? Got it. Okay. I'll look into that, Game Buster. Thanks for the heads up. So I don't like that you're going in here with your cooldown not yet ready, Genji. Like, you look at this and it's a case of, hey, you're in, your cooldowns aren't up. You could have continued to do work from here. You could have had cover. That's qualifying plenty as a distraction for your Winston and your Reinhardt to push in. You being in just puts you in a lot of danger. Yes, your team is going to be able to push, but if these guys want to delete you, they can do it instantly. And I do mean instantly. They have flash, you don't have an answer to that, and you dropped into here. Zarya can melt you through deflect, not that you have deflect. Mercy's here to boost someone. Like, this isn't really what you want. Anna can sleep you, nade you. Like, you've dropped in without cooldowns thinking, I'm going to get this elimination, but you can't guarantee that you're going to have this elimination. You can't, if you had dash and you could dash out through him, etc., that would be one thing, but you don't. This is just too early when you did plenty of distraction work from up here. So early committal. Hey, Semitic. That was kind of predictable. I got distracted looking at chat, and that was kind of active combat. You get the res. You see that the McCree's there. You have your cooldowns. You see the McCree's there. There's a health pack over there. I don't love this. Immediate deflect.
You've rescued me again, Dr.
I can
Ziggy.
live with that. You're kind of in a partitioned duel over here, so yeah, that's fine with me.
Don't go there.
Fine. Get up on the high ground. Uh, I don't love this. I don't love this turning around to deal with the Zarya. Like, don't get me wrong, dealing with the Zarya is appropriate enough, etc. But I actually would have preferred you to go up here and be more annoying. I think you could have done more to hold back these guys, and that would have been better. And by hold back, I just mean distract them, make them look at you because you're shooting them from up here and they can't really shoot at you, etc. Or you could have tried to throw out the Zarya from here. Going this way is sort of like, oh shoot, a Reinhardt could come into my back, or an Ana could come into my back, or whatever. And you don't really have the greatest tools to deal with it. This is okay, but I would have preferred this up here. You know, from your cart, do your little double hop up to here, and then do your work either in this direction or this direction. I think that would have been better for holding these guys back, and this kind of left the back of you exposed. But the Reinhardt was in front of you. The Reinhardt also turned around, which is even more questionable than what you did. What you did wasn't really questionable. We can just optimize. What he did was questionable. Okay. Oh, you're our Genji. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So you understand what you did wrong there. Good. Hey, Alice. Okay, we're taking our space. We have plenty of people. We have our Mercy. Why are we dropping? Oh, you don't need to press the cart. Don't do that. So card only goes 1/3 faster by having a second person on it than by having one person on it. So like you can put the extra person or two on it for a second or so, but as soon as there's any chance, like before people actually show up, it's generally better to have taken space. It's generally better to pre-be here where you can be like, oh, I'm up here, I throw some shurikens, I drop. I climb, I throw some shurikens, I drop. Or I'm over here, I throw some shurikens, etc. It's generally better to get the tax on them to make it hard to enter your space, to make this contested space that they have to walk through, to make this contested space that they have to walk through, than it is to get the extra third speed. So like go back and do this for a second or so after a clean fight win, and then push up to take your space again, assuming that there weren't staggers to get. If there were staggers to get, go get the staggers instead. And sometimes you'll get more than a second. If you did like a clean team wipe, you'll go back and maybe push for 3-4 seconds, and then you'll go up and take your space again. But it generally is worth it to tax them on their way in. Drain the resources is better than pushing the card a little faster. You're going to do it, aren't you? So this isn't great, and the reason this isn't great is I want to show you what's happening here. So you see how you're Genji, and you're Genji playing from cart, and you're Genji like shooting in the direction of this team, and you see how your Reinhardt, like your entire team is, with the exception of Hanzo, Hanzo's bailing you guys out a bit, but you're just all straight along one path here. And let's just ignore Hanzo for a second, because Hanzo's doing it right, but the rest of you really aren't. Once blue gets out here, I'm glad that you got the pick. So, see how when they send people out here, you're sort of distracted, which gives these guys more ability to get in and then poke in whatever direction they want? That's kind of good. You're still right here on the cart effectively doing your I'm going to poke from this direction, etc. And that's really not fantastic right now. We much want their attention to be distracted. Like you could be over here, you could be up over here, you could have been trying to play with this a little. Like there's all sorts of things you can do, but I don't want you on this same sight line as the rest of your team because they're already wanting to look at this sight line. This is where the cart is, this is where your supports are. Genji doesn't do a lot of work when he's on the same sight line as a team. He's not particularly high damage, as I'm sure you've noticed. People joke that he's a blade bot, and he sort of is, but the thing that he has going for him, for an ult charging perspective and for a getting damage done perspective, is he can get to weird and unusual places and attack from angles that opponents aren't really expecting. So if you notice how this works, it's much more awkward to push into enemies that are shooting at you from multiple directions, so you want to be shooting at them from multiple directions. Pop up here, throw some shurikens. or pop up here, throw some shurikens, etc. And then they're in this case of like, ew, there's a Hanzo shooting us from here, a Genji shooting us from here, some support shooting us from there. We don't like it. It's uncomfortable. You want to give them that uncomfortable feeling. You also want to compromise their cover. If they walk out here with, say, like a Rhine Shield, they didn't. Their Rhine Shield is over here. But if they walk out here with, say, a Rhine Shield, that could answer the Hanzo. That could even answer the Hanzo and your team. But it couldn't answer the Hanzo and your team and you, because you can shoot from a slightly higher angle. Now, you wouldn't necessarily stay here, because we don't want you to get flashed. We don't want you to get melted by the Zarya, etc. But you pop up here for a quick shuriken toss or two, and then you drop. And you have plenty of ability to get back out. And then maybe you're over here and you do the same, etc. So we really do want to be hard camping those angles, not just sitting on the cart with our team, because we're pretty bad from on the cart with our team.
Onwards to victory.
So, Lord Tro, how you feeling about this blade in hindsight? Now, when you started pulling it out, the echo was still alive. I think that's a better solution than poking from cart. I just thought that since I had ult, I didn't want to feed support ult, but I definitely agree with you. Yeah, now I get not wanting to feed support ult. You don't want to be overly concerned about not feeding support ult for two reasons. One is exhausting teams really matters. Like, teams don't heal up perfectly on their way in. They'll heal up some, they'll do some, but if you're chipping, the Hanzo's chipping, you start draining them of their resources. Barriers, healing cooldowns, defensive cooldowns. Yes, they get support ult charge, and yes, that matters, but that's not a super big thing to concern yourself. I'm really not of the camp of, oh, the instant we have ult, we have to stop poking. No, it's still worth it to tax them, because you end up draining those resources like barriers, like health, etc., and you end up getting a few eliminations, because even if you can't force an elimination by yourself, you hit a body shot and Hanzo hits a body shot, and there's an elimination right there. Like the stuff combos, or you hit a couple body shots and that doesn't get an elimination, but it pressures the McCree enough that he uses his roll when he doesn't want to, while they're still rotating, etc. It pressures them enough that Anna uses her nade as they're rotating in. And then when they take the actual fight, she doesn't have her nade to protect herself when you go in for the actual dive, etc. Or Zarya starts using bubbles, etc. Like, you get enough value out of forcing cooldowns, forcing resource leads, that generally it's not worth it. What makes it even more true in this case is they don't have a defensive ult for you. If you were worried of, hey, if I feed them, I have Blade, and if I feed them a little bit more ult charge, they're going to get trans because I know they're close to trans. I get it. There's specific moments where that makes sense, but they don't have trans or beat. Their team can't get trans or beat. They're running Mercy Anna. And, I'm thinking that you expect to get eliminations with your Nana Blade through any sort of Valk. So, yeah. In this case, definitely not the case of, oh, I need to make sure I don't feed the ults, for both of those reasons. The first is usually true. There's occasional things that would make the second true of, hey, I don't want to give them their trans, I don't want to give them their beat because they're close, but that doesn't apply here. Okay. But the issue with this blade in general is you were up 2. Like, you were up 2, they weren't in great shape. You'd kind of taken the left flank. You hadn't, but your team had taken out the left flank that had come in. You didn't need a blade to take this point. You'd have much rather had your blade for this. But now we're doing this. Take your deeper angle. No. We take our deeper angle over here so that we have the cover. I know you're trying to, like, bait a fire strike that you can deflect, etc., but who cares? Like, the effort you're putting into baiting this fire strike so that you can get a reflect that's going to hit, one person, versus just going up here, which is what you were closer to, where you can now throw over his shield, or you can put pressure on their backline, etc. That's way better. This is way better. Even if you don't do more damage, it's way more pressure, and you'll probably do more damage from here than you would here. And you don't want to deflect and then go here, because deflect is one of the things that lets you maintain your angle. It's a defensive, it lets you stay here, etc. If you use your deflect, you're going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to want to go back to your team, or go back a little, take a more conservative angle, etc. If you have your deflect, you're going to be more willing to take a more aggressive angle, and potentially do work from here that you wouldn't necessarily be willing to do when you had your deflect. So I don't want you to just force your own deflect, unless there's, like, 6 people here pushing, and you go, yes, yes, I'm with my team. They're already throwing damage. I step in front, deflect, and then step back. Like, I don't want this, like, oh, I'm here. Let me go try to get this fire strike. Just go take your angle, and then keep your deflect to help you sustain on your angle. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Good. It's fine, Game Buster. I can look around you. You can say whatever you... I mean, don't say whatever you want, but you can, if you're having a conversation in chat, it doesn't bother me. I'll just ignore things that don't make sense. It's fine. Deflect? No, you're just... Yeah, this was a little weird. So you're going through here. This is fine. You're doing this to see if there's something to get. There was a Zarya. I don't really like this deflect. Like, this deflect is a, hey, why are you deflecting? You're deflecting, like, to stay in the fight. Or dashing, excuse me. You're dashing to stay in the fight. And that's not particularly good. We want to make sure that our dashes either take us to a safe place, or that our dashes get us an elimination, so we'll get another dash. Or, like, it's immediately going to be followed with an elimination. You just dashed into something, and maybe you knew it was the Zarya, maybe you didn't. But either way, you dashed into a fight that you don't necessarily know what sort of shape this person is in. Happens to be a Zarya, so you can't even use your other cooldown to protect yourself because their beam goes through your deflect. So you went into a bad situation against someone that you can't guarantee you're going to not just beat, but beat immediately. Like, dashing into a situation of, oh, it's okay, I can beat them. No, that's not good enough. It needs to be like the dash eliminates them, or you dash and immediately 180 melee and that eliminates them. Or when you get really good, you dash and you immediately turn and hit them with 2 shuriken headshots, but you 100% know that you're on top of them when you finish the dash and are going to hit them with the 2 shuriken headshots, etc., and that healing isn't going to come in, so you're going to get it. You can't just like dash for movement like this when it puts you in a risky position as opposed to a safer position, which is what you've done. And now you're here deep in the enemy backline, which is cool, but you're at low health and you don't have dash. And you desperately need to force an elimination because you're going to have reset issues. Sorry, keeps paying attention to you. And you hear the echo, and I'm a little surprised that you don't deflect when you hear the echo, because I would be worried about incoming stickies. Yeah, but she could focusing beam you regardless. Exactly, Art.
I'm escorting the payload. Let's keep it moving.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Let's get you back.
I'm on fire. Let the dragon consume.
That wasn't very respectable.
I'm on fire.
He's not hitting shots, and I know that you're going to hit deflect if he hits a shot, so I can live with it. This is just like, you just trust that he's not going to hit you. That's a long time of very predictable movement there, but it's still Plat. Did you think that there was a 0% chance he'd been healed up or something? Like, yes, you did hit him a little bit earlier, so you knew he'd lost some health, but that's his team. He was playing with core. Support's coming in behind him, totally normal. You've just dashed into a McCree that you weren't sure it was the elimination on, and you haven't seen use flash. You're gone. Like, this is... You should get punished for this. Bad. And you did. That's how that works.
You've rescued me again, Tazi.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You've rescued me again, Dr.
In rush.
It's got half health and has a beam on it. Maybe you don't know that. Maybe you haven't hit him recently enough to know his health, but like that's half health, more than half health with a beam on it. This dash is not immediately going to turn into a finish. You don't have an equation that does that. Like, yes, you could dash through, immediately turn and hit a double shuriken headshot, and maybe even then try to cancel into a melee. But like, it's got the mercy beam. That's an extra 50 health per second. That's not a particularly low health McCree. It's definitely not 50. Like, it's not dash range by itself, so you have to hit some sort of combo. I don't have the belief that you're particularly practiced on a combo that, 95% chance you're going to get it off, etc., especially on a rolling target. Near 0% chance you'll get it on a rolling target. Nuh-uh. And then you don't even end up hitting him. I don't like him. I know you had your deflect. I know they were backing up, etc. But like, I still don't like it. Takes skill to throw a flash into deflect. The hitbox and deflect can feel sad at times. It used to. The hitbox and deflect has just gotten smaller and smaller as time has gone on. Like, it used to really be tough, etc. Now it's just sort of like, yeah, let me just flash this wall here and get you. Let me flash above your head and get you. It's not that bad anymore. It used to be pretty darn challenging. That said, it was just how the matchup was in general. Like, he didn't have to deflect immediately. He didn't have to flash immediately because Genji used their dash. That's spending Genji's big move, etc. Deflect is definitely the less big ability, and he had his Reinhardt with him. So he wasn't under super amounts of pressure. Yes, he was missing health, so he was under pressure, but he wasn't under super amounts of pressure to immediately flash bang. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone's really happy with deflect. It feels broken on both sides, sure. Okay. Okay, so again, this is okay with me, but I'd like you to consider, can I find my way up over here? Can I break off for a second and find my way up over here? I don't really want you throwing straight on like this, because this is where they're all looking. This is where they're all paying attention. I don't mind it. You're close, and you don't want to get Zarya beamed. This might feel like, hey, I'll get Zarya beamed. This could be better. I want you looking at these different angles, though. These different angles are what lets you see easy access to things like a low health Zen, etc. And you see, Hanzo's got it. Hanzo's got the memo. Your Shimada bro over here has got the memo and has had it all match of, I want the off angles. We want you to take the off angles too. So this was early. You knew you got caught in here with your Reinhardt. You wanted to have this deflect up in a moment. You wanted to sort of see what happened. Is the Rein shield going to break? What's going on, etc. And sure enough, the thing that is going on is High Noon, and he's going to charge this High Noon for a bit. So you needed to delay this deflect. And you should have known that. You didn't immediately need to deflect when you were in the grab because you knew you were in here with a Reinhardt. Got it, Game Buster. I'll do it right after this one. Okay. What? Why do we think this is a thing? Why do we think this is a thing? Like, this is sort of safety that we're dashing towards. Like, oh, this could be safety, but not really, because this is where their spawn doors are. We're dashing towards the enemy's respawn in a place where the enemy's respawn comes out on a Mercy that this isn't the elimination on, and it's not like this Mercy just spent Guardian Angel. Of course she's immediately going to zip away now. She's going to zip past her Zarya, etc. So, like, if anything, we wanted to spend our dash right after she spends Guardian Angel to at least take advantage of, second and a half cooldown. It's not much, but like pressure her, and then when she Guardian Angels this way, maybe then we follow up with the dash and try to get her, etc. But like this, we're dashing towards the enemy spawn door. We're dashing at Mercy that we're not immediately gonna finish. I don't like this. I don't like this. Do not like. And she GAs away just like we expect, and she's still got 60 health. And now we're getting beamed by a Zarya. We're lucky we're not getting shot by a McCree. But fortunately, we're able to go get the Mega. Why did we drop? Like, this was a good place to be from. We could work just fine from here. And if we don't feel comfortable throwing shots from this distance, we should practice throwing shots from this distance. This was a good place to play from, especially given that your team is still all the way back there. And, you know, they have spawns coming back out, etc. We take your high ground. Please don't play with core. Please don't play with core. Just for you, Kagek. Do we want to micro that blade? You dash up. You don't get a nano. Is your Ana in a place where she can nano you, or are you doing this when she's tied up? Yeah, your Ana definitely can nano you. And she has nano, so that's unfortunate. I don't know if you press Z as like a warning that you were ulting, or if you called it in chat or anything. You're going to get flashed here, but I don't necessarily mind because you probably expected to have nano, and it's a lot less dangerous. Though actually this is dangerous. If you get flashed, you could also then eat a 5 orb, because that then has 4 orbs charged already. That would be rough. Let's slow this down. Fine, you're gonna get booped. No, you're gonna get flashed. You don't have dash. Why don't you have dash? Or is this you using dash? Okay. Now you have your dash. And you're gonna go for it one more time on... Really, it should be the McCree, because you know you hurt him more, but you go for that one. That's fine. Oh, and you missed the slash. That bites. Okay. And you should immediately pop deflect. Immediately pop deflect. Yeah. Unfortunate.
Ready for duty. I'm starting the payload.
Okay, good to know, Art. It was reasonable to expect you'd get Nano there. There was nothing messing with her sightlines or anything, so that's just unfortunate. Good, we take the angle. Good. Okay. Just gonna be a little dicey. You're starting a little close to him, but hey. I don't think you were at the distance for that shuriken choice. You decide to go for the Zen before the McCree. I can live with that. At this distance, do you ever think you were going to hit multiple with your spread shuriken like this? I don't. I don't think you were ever at this distance going to hit him with multiple of your spread shuriken. Like, you're certainly not going to get 2 in the head at this distance. I don't think you were going to get 2 on him, period. I think you were better off with your 1, 2, 3. Like, you know, it's a little annoying, but I think you were better off with that than with this at this distance. You needed to be a bit closer if you were going for the spread, which I get is scary with the McCree there. You're going to dash because you don't want to get flashed, which will happen right here. Then you're going to have to... Okay. Good. That was good. Fine. And then you immediately deflect? No. Perfect. Yeah, that was well done. I think the first shot selection was wrong, but other than that, it was fine. Yes, it takes longer to do the other one, but there we go. Giving you Mercy the way out. Good. Taking your ankle. It's fine. I mean, you could have known that we hadn't really earned the space. We were still in trouble, but I'll live.
You rescued me again, Dr.
Nice of him to donate his life. Now they don't have any damage threats. Take your angle. Good. So, probably got distracted a little heavy by Ball here. Obviously, Ball was trying hard. They were down too. Ball was trying hard to slow this down, be it with, what am I saying? Be it with mines, be it with other tools, be it with keeping you and others out here. There was a window where it was like, as soon as we've got our team in here, like, this is a fight that you were actively looking to blade in. And what I mean by that is, let's go. Let's go back to, did I go too far? I could have gone too far. Okay, so is this where we went up to, or is this when they get the mercy back? I may have just rewound way too far. Okay, so we've got both of their DPS. We would love to blade, but our team isn't here yet, so we're not going to do it. And we're saying, hey, why is it temporal? Are you saying you would love to blade? Because we have to keep them in spawn. We have to keep resetting them here, etc. Like, we want to earn the space, so we want to earn the space and then be able to blade. They'll be back up to like 5 people by the time we get it off. You're fighting here for the Moira, which is earning your team space. Their ball's done a good job, and this is where it starts to turn, but this is still bladeable if your team's in it. Do you have the nano? You don't, so you're going to have to wait for that. Fine. If you're still waiting for the nano, yeah, that's right. Wait for the nano. And then because you're having to wait for the nano, which has gone off now, I don't love chasing the ball this far out. Our team is still here. Our team has effectively taken the space now. Like, we could be over here nano blading, and instead we're fighting the ball. And I totally get it, but we could be over here nano blading, and instead we're fighting the ball, who's mostly left at this point. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we look at this ball, go back to our Genji. Ball's annoying. Don't get me wrong. Ball's annoying, but our team got to the position where they are now in the fight, and they are a credible threat if we go for our blade. Instead, we dash at the ball, we dash out of the fight. This ball is like doing exactly what his team needs, which is denying the nano blade right now. Like, that is what his team needs, for them to deny the nano blade, where it's like, hey, do they have a good answer to your nano blade? They don't have any ults. You know, their beat looks like, or are they using beat right now? Is that what's going on? No, they don't have any ults. That's a fresh Lucio, it looks like. So they lose if you come in here and nano blade. They're going to lose. Your team is in a position to follow up, even though we're down Mercy. Got your Zarya here, got your Rhine swinging, got your Hanzo doing work. Like, this team loses. Where did your Ana go? Your Ana should be alive. Yeah, and your Ana's right here. So, you chasing this ball is like undoing what is the win condition, what you're looking for right now, etc. And this ball is actually left. This ball, having rolled out here that you just dashed after, has actually left and isn't going to come back in until like 2 seconds from now, when he has a roll through cooldown again at the earliest. He's already sort of done his work. My guess is that he doesn't even have adaptive shield anymore. I'm correct. He's got another 5 seconds on adaptive shield and another 3 seconds on tether. So, like, he's left and he won't be back for a couple seconds. You chasing him to chunk him down harder makes him stay out longer, because he's going to have to go find health packs, but it denies you what is the proper ult timing, which is, hey, my team is finally in position, etc. And now let's sort of watch what happens as you battle the ball. Congratulations, you battle the ball and make him leave. He's already cost you about 3 seconds. It would take you another 2 to 3 seconds to get back. And they hit their own ult combo, and maybe it was called that this was what we planned on winning the team fight with, our Grav Dragon instead of our Nano Blade, in which case, fine, you peeling the ball is more okay. But, like, the ball is doing his job here effectively. Like, it's nice to chip balls out and make them leave hard, but you want to do that if they're engaging early. This ball wasn't engaging early. He was pulling you, a key component of this offense, away at the right time. You follow what I'm saying? Like, chipping him down to make him go grab health packs while you then take the fight, great. Chipping him down when you can't force the elimination, and you're not going to force the elimination while the fight's going on, and you have an ult that can win and he doesn't, not nearly as good. Okay. And now it's over.
60 seconds remaining.
Hey, Blob. I mean, there's players that can do it, like a Tracer, etc., and it's not terrible if the ball was in early to be like, hey, we're going to chip it down harder so that it is going and getting a health pack at that moment, so that while it's going and getting a health pack, you can go take your 6v5 and it's out for a few seconds, but it's got to be timed right. Good of you to spot him. You don't have dash. Yeah, I know what you want, but you don't have dash. There you go. Okay. Naked Blade. Nice. Not even nanoed. Get your left control. Control your lane.
10 seconds remaining.
Why? Why are we dashing at him? Dashing at him puts him in range, puts us in range of his boop and all that shenanigans. Yes, you're against a wall, but like there was plenty of time to continue throwing shots at him. He wasn't even paying attention to us yet. Once we dash him, he's way more likely to pay attention to us. Throw some shots. If you miss, just throw more shots. He probably didn't see you. Okay. Okay.
The battle continues.
I don't like it. I know you're worried about the overtime touch, etc., but you have people touching, so you don't need that dash. Go up left side. You don't want to be on cart here. Your Ryan and Zarya will handle cart. You don't want to also be on cart. It means, by definition, you are threatening from less angles if you're stacking a bunch of people on cart. There's a reason that when teams are trying to push overtime carts or stop overtime carts, you've got an anchor who's specifically on it, and you've got a next person who will go do it, and everyone else is not, rather than going everyone on cart. And it's because if everyone is on cart, you're here and it's like, oh, there's people attacking me from every direction. It's hard. There's people over there, etc. Whereas if you just put like a Ryan or a Ryan and a Zarya on cart and you put your Genji up here, your Hanzo up here, etc., it's much easier to clean up. It's much easier for people to actually get work done. You put your Ana back here, she can actually do work, and they have to pick, do they want to contest cart, do they want to go after the Ana? They have to pick, do they want to contest cart, do they want to go after the Hanzo, etc. So I don't want you on this cart here. Maybe you're staying here to get the healing orb. Maybe that's what's going on. No, you're not, because that's not your healing orb. Backed up a little, but back isn't necessarily better. Back is a little bit better because now they have to walk through people to get you, but range isn't necessarily your friend as Genji. It doesn't, I mean, it helps some. You don't have fall off, but like angles are better. Yeah, and again, if you'd been up here during that shatter, that's probably an easy Lucio pickup. Follow what I'm saying? Whereas here you had the cart in the way, all that jazz. Okay. I don't like that dash. I don't think you guys... Whatever. Did you need it? Maybe you did. I wasn't watching the wit closely enough. Maybe too many people got zoned. Yeah, you... I see why you didn't go get the health back in the dash. Yeah, you did need it. Okay, good on you. Ha! I believe! Not quite. Unfortunate. Okay, so pretty good overall. You've got the traditional Genji problem of you are too loose with your dash. You do it in situations where no, you do not have an elimination or a very, very high probability of immediately following up for the elimination. You don't wildly do it too much, but you still do the dash too much in situations where that's not true. So that's going to be the first thing, the easiest thing. Like, you really have to be disciplined about that. Your dash is for, we're going to get this elimination, either from the dash. We're very certain we can get this elimination as part of a, as like, we'll immediately get it right afterwards because we're going to follow up with this. They don't have any other support, etc. And I mean immediate. And I do mean within like half a second, etc. And another example of that would be a coordinated dive. In a coordinated dive, you believe that you're going to get the elimination immediately because you're dashing through the target that's at full health, Tracer is double blinking in, Winston is leaping in, etc. So that's where that one falls. And then your third type of dash is your dash out of danger. If you're dashing to a place that's safe, that's fine. But if you're using your dash to go in, you better know that you're going to get that elimination. Okay. That's fine. The other thing so far that we're seeing that would be most important would still be more of this angle play. Like, you do a little bit of, oh, I'm in front of the Reinhardt with deflect type stuff, which is okay, but I want more of the angle play, more of the oh, fire up from over truck, more of oh, fire up from right side on second point, etc. Okay.
Stop the payload.
That's what I saw, Kangix, that they were removing 2CP from competitive for Overwatch 2. Good, but not good. So, this is fine. You look at this, you throw your blades, you got a little help there. You definitely did, but you got it. So hey, we got our dash elimination. That's fine. So now we don't want to be here anymore. So our next dash needs to be out. Our next dash needs to be out. It can't be through the Moira because I don't believe that we're getting an elimination on that Moira. Look at this Moira's health. I don't believe that this dash is getting us an elimination, and you shouldn't either. And you're not in safe space. In fact, you finished this dash right next to a Winston, in the Winston's bubble, etc. Your team couldn't heal you if they wanted to. Okay, Mercy could, but you get the idea. And your escape is to wall climb this. Your escape to wall climb this with a monkey right next to you, with a Genji right here. Like, this is not safe space that you finished your dash in, nor was there any belief that this dash was going to get an elimination. So this dash instead needed to be like a dash up to here, where you then go, okay, now I'll continue to rain down shurikens, and I can drop for my mini if I have to. That dash, on the other hand, was fine. Yes, you still got punished, but your team was losing the fight too hard. You dashed through what wasn't quite going to be a finish, but was close. But more importantly, you finished, hey, right on the high ground there, a step from the high ground, which you then wall climbed for. I hear you, Art, but you can really only do that if you're caught in isolated duels. Like, if you're caught in an isolated duel with a McCree, sure, you can dash early because it's better to dash early and force the fight close than it is to let him get poke while you poke on the way in, because his poke is going to be better at that medium short range as opposed to close range. So like, it can be done in isolated duels like that, but if you're not in an isolated duel, most of the time it's just better to go, nope, I'm gonna take my cover, etc., as opposed to forcing the duel if you aren't already on top of them. Plus, even if you trust your mechanics, even if you trust, oh, I'm going to win out, etc., that doesn't always mean that you're going to win out immediately. And suddenly, I have better mechanics than him, I'm going to win. Doesn't matter if, ooh, a healing orb showed up. Ooh, they suddenly got a harmony orb. I hadn't calculated for that, etc. Because even if you think you're better than the average player, you're the better duelist than the average player, which you could be at this level, that could be a skill that you have, other factors happen, and that's why it's really about, can you force this elimination in the next half of a second, third of a second or so? And if you can't, it's generally not worth the dash. Because the longer it goes on, the more likely outside factors like healing, like Zarya bubbles, etc. are to enter the fray. Do I want to comment?
Der Kampf.
Maybe, but not with the 20-second rewind, nor with the 3-second rewind.
I could use something.
Fine. Interesting. That's a Valk. You're clearly not going to catch that. You're too long going in this direction. Like, as soon as she Valked, that was over as a target. You kind of wasted about a second and a half of blade there. Okay.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Yeah, no problem, Art.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You needed it all.
So that's again the type of dash we're talking about. Back. Good. Reaper's a lot less dangerous to you. These guys are a lot less dangerous to you if you just go, hey, I can play from here and I can just rain on you from this angle and it's nice and scary, etc. Like, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. The Reaper can't do squat to you unless he teleports. The Winston has to use his leap, whereas you can then dash away, etc. Because you could have wall climbed up this when you were over here. Okay.
Heldenstärkste Riesen.
Okay. You have enough here to justify going for a blade if you want, and you had the Valk going. Too late. There was only a small window where the blade made sense, and it was about a 2-second overlap with the Valk. Okay, we can do it anyways. We're not going to... Yeah, we don't even have a Mercy on... or Anna on the team anymore. Yeah, that wasn't optimal. It was about 3 seconds before that when the blade made sense. Kind of over. Just farm blade as best you can from here. Reasonable.
I'm taking care of you.
No. You don't know what was around this corner. For all you knew, the Genji was around the corner. The Winston was sitting right here, etc. Like that. No. Owie.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Get out. Good.
Just like old times.
It's getting a little finicky. Give me just a sec for the game to catch up. Good.
Barrier in place.
Okay. Why do we need 50 damage on ball? How did that help us?
Damage increase.
Now holding this position is a lot more scary. Fortunately, we just heard Winston using leap, but this is a great position to be in, but it's a lot more scary to be here. if, you know, we don't know that that Winston is super chunks down, and we don't know that that Winston just used leap. Fortunately, he did. Yeah, it is. Okay, this is the power position. I'm glad you're battling for it. You have your mercy pocket. You're going to take the fight. You're going to take the fight. Now he has the mercy pocket too. Well, okay. Who is the superior blader? Yeah. Okay, you're in a relatively safe place. Fine. Stay close to him. Right idea. Nice. No. It's perfectly fine to walk up here the regular way, maybe travel through the health pack, throw some shurikens. You've got time. The cart isn't like just about to cap or anything. Now you're in the middle of the open with no dash. Okay, team's got control. Early. We just leave to the right. I'd have preferred the right, the left is fine. Okay. Yep, you're giving her a good place to leash to. Good. He wasn't weak enough, and you're in the middle of nowhere. Nice. Guess she didn't have fade. Cool. Oh, that wasn't quite what I meant to do. You don't need to stand on cart. We have control. Go take truck. Please go take truck. If you're on truck, you deny this ball harder. The ball can still get in, but you chip him, and then you can think about transitioning your way up to here, which is even more powerful. If you're on mid, you're just firing down the same sight line as everyone else with a damage move that isn't terribly powerful. Okay, that was nice. It's not right in this case because he's a 250 health hero, but it was nice. And that is effectively the combo that you're looking to do all the time if you're going for the early dashes. But it takes some practice.
I am ready.
This is not your time. I can't wait. 60 seconds remaining.
This is worse than this. Again, this ball would have been chipped every time he's trying to take this flank. If you'd been doing this flank and this flank, it gives you better access for angles to hit the team. You'll get more headshots. You'll be distracting them better, or you'll get easier shots because they're distracted by your team, or they're shooting, looking at you, which means your team gets easier shots on them. So like you'd be helping to chip this ball harder on his way in. You'd be getting more damage on the team. You'd potentially be opening up more damage for your team onto their team. You'd have easier access to their back line as they walk in because their back line has to follow. Like all sorts of good stuff. He isn't BMing all of his kills. This is bad play. Oh, you're saying, got it. Got it. Okay, you're gonna go down mid and blade. Oh, are you trying to delay this so that when you blade, the fight's over and they don't get a retouch? You have the space to win with Blade. No, you just didn't think you had a Blade window yet. Okay.
Don't let up. It's almost over.
Sensing the start of a prophetic flux.
This isn't as good. You went over here and it doesn't give you access to this lane unless you go all the way over here, and you're not really fast enough to go all the way over here and then be able to transition back to here like a Tracer can. This really is the better lane for you to control. So I didn't like that you retreated to this side between fights. I'd have preferred this. Not that this is terrible. And you know, you can do stuff down here, but again, this isn't as strong as this, which isn't for you as strong as this.
Enemies now.
And you're fighting on the same path as your team. So like things that are meant for your team, like, oh, maybe they're going to throw a flux this way, maybe they're going to minefield here, maybe they're going to throw a nade in here, maybe they're going to blossom through here. All this stuff when you're fighting on this lane wouldn't necessarily get you if you were over here. Stuff that's meant for your team can get you when you're here. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I want to deflect all of it, I can understand that. But mostly this is going to be better for you. That was fine. Good. Scary. Oh! That's a shame. Okay. So, let's get a better screen.
An enemy returns.
Okay, good stuff overall. And she had some nice ones, which you did get the dash and then multi-shuriken into the back of their head as you dash through them, etc. So you had a couple good ones of those. But for the most part, if you can't consistently do that, and sometimes you're even dashing them too early to do that, you need to go ahead and make sure, we've gone over your dashes pretty thoroughly, but you need to make sure that if you're dashing, you are very confident you can get an elimination on that target in the next 1/3 to half a second or so, because otherwise things get too out of your control. Support abilities come in, bubbles, harmony orbs, Ana heals, whatever, mercies show up, a friend shows up, etc., and then you're stuck without your dash, even if you thought you could beat them in the duel. So unless it truly is an isolated duel, you don't want to be using your dash to go in unless it's for the finish or is immediately going to turn into a finish as part of a combo, etc. Again, part of a combo for a finish can be a multi-person dive. It can be okay to use your dash to go in those situations. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing. The second thing is going to be, I do want you to still be looking to play more on those angles. You're doing some of it, but you're surrendering angles when it doesn't make sense. You saw a couple times I called it out that Ball just took the lane for free, and he would have still been able to force his way past you, but you could have chipped him hard. You weren't particularly in danger by doing it, and it gives you that much better angle. It gives you easier access to their backline. If they ignore you and try to walk their team in without clearing the lane, you just drop on their backline for free. You get to more headshots from there. It does all sorts of good stuff. You don't take crud that's meant for your team, like a minefield drop down mid. That doesn't affect you because you're on your different lane. All that good stuff. So those are going to be your two areas to work on Genji that are going to see the most improvement. What I want you to do is I want you to pick one of those and work on it. I want you to pick dashes, say, and be thinking about your dashes with maybe like 10% of your brain power while playing matches for the next 3 days, for the next week, for the next however long it takes for you to sort of start to crystallize it as the new habit in terms of how you use your blades. Because some of your blades are going to be, or not your blades, your dashes, because some of your dashes are going to be reflex at this point. They're already ingrained in there, and we're trying to change how they're ingrained. So that's going to take some thinking while you're playing about it, which might overall cause you to play a little bit worse. But as you're continuing to think about it, as you do that for a week, 2 weeks, 3 days, whatever it takes, it's going to start to solidify in this new way. And as long as you don't stop thinking about it before it's solidified in this new way, then when you move on to working on your next thing, which could be your holding of angles, etc., it's not going to fall off. So I want you to work on it, work on those dashes, etc. And then after a while move on to try to work on the angles, but keep an eye on your dashes. And if you find if you look back and go, wait, my dashes are sinking, my dashes aren't doing what they were before, drop the angles and go back to working on your dashes again, and then later try to work on the next thing again and see if they don't fall off. And if it doesn't fall off, then you're actually ready to move on to the next thing. Okay, I hope that helped. If you guys have questions, throw them in chat now. I think there's too much Overwatch 2 stuff here that I'm not going to catch up on. Big content release, Bastion Symmetra, rework type thing. He big brained waited for the coalescence. Yeah, I thought that might be what was going on. I thought it might be a case of him going, hey, he wants to make sure the opponents invest in ult before he ults there. Um, Hey Temporal, regarding sim, do you think teleporter as a utility would be stronger on a support sim rather than a DPS sim? I think teleporter as a utility could make more sense on a support sim than a DPS sim. On the other hand, it's not like it's unheard of. Maywall is a pretty similar utility, and it's on a DPS hero. Like, you could argue that May is a DPS hero that leans tank, but Sim is a DPS hero that a history of leaning support, or really a support hero that had a history of leaning DPS, but hey, take your pick there. So I don't know that the question matters. Like, they could rework her back into a support, but I don't think they will. It doesn't fit. I don't think they will, because I think they probably know now how powerful it is to give people an extra, like, remember when she could give people an extra 25 or 50 shields or whatever? Like, that was powerful and people just didn't realize it at the time, especially in the modern day with shields under armor and things like that. And or maybe we finally fixed that, but it just becomes scary. Okay. I love how you read the chat recap. Hey, no problem, Art. Good luck to you. Should help you out. And obviously, you now know how to join my Discord if you want to come back, get more coaching. I do charge for, additional coaching, etc. But you can come back, take a look at what other coaching other Genjis have got, or you can come back and say, hey, I want to be better at Overwatch. I want further coaching, etc. So up to you. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. That really does help me out quite a bit. Brings the videos to new audiences, and that's fantastic. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord, see my rates, all that good stuff. And with that, I believe we are now going to head into Game Busters reviews. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.